Well, they don't call it silly season for nothing. Transfer rumours flying left, right, and centre as Manchester City look to lock down their goalkeeper position for the next 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years. Who knows? Welcome back to the City Ramble, leading the conversation in the world of Manchester City. You know the drill by now. If you're new around here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Get involved in the City Ramble Discord as well. Big group chat, talking all things Man City transfers, Man City football, all things football, some things non-football. It's plenty of fun. Link to that is in the description. But today, there has been an update. There's been an update in terms of Manchester City's pursuit of a new goalkeeper, because reports from Portugal have mentioned that name again, Diogo Costa. He has popped back up into the news cycle just when it looked like Manchester City were really putting their foot on the pedal for a move for James Trafford. More on him a little bit later on. Again, I'm going to be, totally transparent. The validity of this source, I don't know. Maybe Portuguese people in the comments will be saying, ignore it, it's pointless. They know absolutely nothing. But we can only go off what we've got in front of us. And it says Manchester City have begun work in the last few hours over the possibility of making a 60 million euros, including add-ons proposal for FC Porto goalkeeper Diogo Costa. City are in a hurry to act soon amid potential competition from PSG, which would suggest that Donnarumma's on the market. I don't know. Donnarumma, I think he's got a year left on his contract. He's in contract talks with PSG. It's not going so well at the moment. City fans, would you rather him than the names that have been mentioned? Let us know in the comments. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because Diogo Costa is a name that has really been sort of linked with City. I'd say, just plucking a number out of my head, I think this name has been around for about 12 months, maybe even longer in terms of City. Obviously, going back 12 months, he was starring for Portugal at the Euros. You might even go back to sort of the 2022 World Cup. When first noise that, maybe City's time with Ederson's coming towards an end. Obviously, Ederson went on as had been incredible, for the last sort of, maybe not the last season, but he's done amazing things at City. The point I'm getting at is, this isn't a new name to be linked with the club. Diogo Costa has been a name that has been mentioned within Manchester City goalkeeper conversations for some time. Obviously, given the Ederson situation and the Ortega contract situation and just the general situation with Man City's goalkeeper department right now, it's being intensified. It's being stepped up. And look, I don't think it's any coincidence. I don't think there's smoke without fire. It's not unusual for a club to be exploring multiple deals at one time. We've seen it this summer, for example. Ryan Cherki and Morgan Gibbs-White were both being mentioned. City went for Cherki, and then the Morgan Gibbs-White deal fell through because City prioritised Cherki. That is sort of, clubs are going to be speaking to different agents and different players, and sometimes, even talking to the clubs about the framework of a deal, of negotiations, because you can't just focus on one at a time. Ask Newcastle, for example, with their James Trafford pursuit. They were sort of eggs in one basket, and then suddenly, as we've seen, City come along and that move collapses. So I think it's only natural that we see these noises. The question is, from a City supporter point of view, from a City fan point of view, who do you go for? Who would you prefer to be the man leading between the sticks, basically? Because I don't think, whether or not you are pro-Ederson or anti-Ederson, whatever side of the debate you fall on in that sense, I don't necessarily know if some people are realising just how big a replacement job this is. Because even if you aren't a fan of Ederson, you look at the way City have played so successfully. For what it's worth, I think he's City's greatest ever goalkeeper. I'm sure there'll be plenty of debates about that as well. But you look at how City have played so successfully over the last, 2017, 8 years since Ederson joined the club from Benfica. He has been paramount. He has been almost as crucial as, it might sound wild, as a Rodri, as a Kevin De Bruyne, and not necessarily as important, but in terms of the style of play, they have been that sort of crucial, like I said, in terms of the way City set up. So this is a big, unless Guardiola is prepared to really sort of rip up his ideals, which he obviously isn't, this is this is a big replacement job. For me, as things stand right now, I think I'm more leaning towards James Trafford for several reasons. We did a video, I think it was over the weekend, about when the James Trafford news really started to pick up. I feel like with James Trafford, it's a low risk, high reward situation because yes, he's going to cost a fair chunk of money. There's talk of 35 million quid to 40 million quid, which isn't cheap. Or, as always, the counter argument to that is, well, in this market, blah, blah, blah. You go back to 2017, what was it, 35 million quid for Ederson or something along those lines. So, in comparison to big prices that have been paid for goalkeepers and, for example, Diogo Costa, you're probably looking at closer to 60 million quid, if not over. What did that report say? Something like 60 million euros. That translates to 50 million pound. Including those add-ons, you're probably looking at least 60 million quid for Diogo Costa. So you're talking almost at half price, basically, or thereabouts, 2/3 of the price for James Trafford. And he's a little bit younger, which you might say for Diogo Costa, for example. That means he's got more experience. He's played in the Champions League. He's had those sort of Portugal number ones, won the Nations League, was part of the team at the Euros. Yeah, fair. That is totally fair. However, at the same time with James Trafford, there's more room to grow into it. And James Trafford still has Premier League experience. He's played for England's under-23s. In terms of, that obviously isn't senior international level, but it's still something. With James Trafford, I just feel like and fingers crossed, if City sign him, it does go really well. And I think it will. He's got the potential to blossom into City's number one for the next however many years you want to sort of speak about. But I think for whatever reason, if it doesn't go right, in 2 years' time, City aren't going to have lost that much. They'll probably still be able to flog him for 30 million quid. There'll be a team in the Premier League who are like, yeah, we'll take him. If City is still at that top table in European football, which you expect them to be even if Guardiola does leave, I just feel like that low risk, high reward possibly is a little bit more appealing to the club right now with all of the rebuild that's going on. With Diogo Costa, the pressure that he will be under to come in and almost perform immediately, that might be a little bit more to deal with than James Trafford, who I think the general consensus is he will obviously, he's not going to be perfect straight away because he's, 22 years old, only really had 1 year of experience in the Premier League. I don't know, I like the thought of James Trafford. I think he's a wonderful goalkeeper. I think he's got the potential. I think he can be England and City's number one for a number of years. I like Diogo Costa. There are some fragilities, but doesn't every goalkeeper have that? I don't know if it is worth the risk in terms of financially, in terms of the style of play. I didn't mention, obviously, James Trafford came through City's academy. He kind of knows the ropes. I guess we'll have a look at some of their statistics. This is via FB Ref, just to sort of give you an idea of comparisons. It's always difficult sort of judging goalkeepers off this. For example, midfielders, you can look at pass completion, or you can look at pass attempted, or strikers, non-penalty goals, etc., etc. But this is sort of what we're looking at here. Clean sheet percentage per 90, 50%. So 1 in every 2 matches, I think, gets a clean sheet. Decent. Obviously, playing in Portugal League, it's a little bit different. Crosses stopped, 6.1% per 90. Not necessarily in terms of the highest percentile in comparison with goalkeepers, but still decent, commanding his box. Goals against, concedes fewer than 1 goal per 90, which is, obviously very good. Touches, this is the important part, I feel like, when it comes to analysing the City goalkeepers. Obviously, this is brief, not going into great detail, but just to give you an idea, 40 touches per 90. If we pull up the same stat for James Trafford, it is pretty much the same. In terms of launch percentage, I wouldn't even know what that stat means. I imagine it means, I don't know. I don't even want to predict. Goal kicks, 5.47 per 90, 4.56, just side by side, quickly. Goals against, 0.36 per 90 for James Trafford. Obviously, He's been playing more in the Championship, which is maybe, he's certainly a lesser division than the Portuguese league. Save percentage for Diogo Costa, 74%. Per 90 for James Trafford, 84%. So in terms of stats, there ain't that much in it in terms of those stats. Obviously, the caveats that we've made, the opposition, the league, etc. I'm just feeling more James Trafford. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. If Diogo Costa comes in, I think it will still be a great signing, but it does. That almost is a, right, come in and play straight away. With James Trafford, I feel like you've got a little bit more leeway. And like I said, it's low risk, high reward. His ceiling is high. His potential is really good. He has the ability to be City, in my opinion, number one for many years, and England. Diogo Costa can be as well. But if it goes wrong, you're kind of left in a hole having paid a lot. With James Trafford, if it goes wrong, there seems to be a little bit more wriggle room. That's just what I'm feeling. Let us know what you think. Hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed it, and the like button as well. Join the City Ramble Discord. Plenty more of these videos coming throughout the summer, so stick around for that. And until next time, it's been a pleasure. We will see you later.